Under the clear blue sky, the luxurious carriage slowly rolled into the magnificent estate. Through the window, a picturesque scene unfolded before Shirone's eyes. A multi-tiered fountain adorned with vibrant roses gurgled white foam under the sunlight, petals floating in the air on the breeze. He couldn't help but exclaim in amazement, "Wow, it's so beautiful." Sitting opposite him, Adil smiled contentedly at his reaction. Shirone turned back inside, his eyes still sparkling with admiration. "The garden is really beautiful." Adil replied with a proud tone. "That fountain was designed by Miss Amy herself. Each member of the family is assigned an area to decorate according to their own preferences." Shirone's gaze swept over a small garden filled with vibrant red roses. He nodded in understanding. "I see. That's a wonderful idea." He looked back at the fountain, his expression becoming thoughtful as he realized something. It seems this fountain even takes into account the refraction of light. Truly Amy's style. Adil nodded slightly, his eyes gleaming with deep respect. He explained solemnly, "All descendants of the Karmis family possess the blood eye. Therefore, they are all outstanding individuals in every field. Perhaps that is also why the family does not interfere in personal matters unless absolutely necessary. Even when the academy was attacked, the head of the family only ensured the safety of Miss Amy and then followed the academy's decisions." Hearing this, Shirone was stunned, a drop of sweat trickling down his temple. He stammered, "I understand, so that's how it is." A complex emotion welled up inside him. It was an incident in which his daughter's life was threatened, and even then...
Inside the luxurious carriage, as it rolled along, the head butler Adil smiled and explained to Shirone, "It's not that there's a lack of family affection, it's simply a tradition of the family. As a result, the young lady has developed a habit of wandering off." Hearing this, Shirone could only offer a wry smile, thinking to himself, "That's rough." Adil's expression suddenly became more serious, but his eyes shone with warmth. "However, the young lady has changed recently. Lately, one could say she started to enjoy life, just like the other members of the family. I believe that's thanks to you, Shirone. I sincerely thank you." Shirone was taken aback by the heartfelt gratitude, his bright blue eyes widening in surprise. He quickly waved his hand, stammering in embarrassment. Me? No way." "Ho, I'm certain of it," Adil stated firmly with a gentle smile. Before long, the carriage stopped in front of a magnificent mansion, standing proudly amidst a vast garden. The sound of steady footsteps echoed on the polished wooden floors as Adil led Shirone inside. The young man followed behind, clutching the basket of apples tightly, feeling anxious. The opulent scene of the main hall, with its towering windows and intricate architecture, only made him more uneasy. "I'm starting to get worried," Shirone thought to himself. "I hope I won't get kicked out." Stopping before a spacious area, Adil announced formally, "My lord, Miss Amy's friend has arrived."
Hasty footsteps echoed through the magnificent hall. A figure in a flowing emerald dress rushed forward like a whirlwind, startling both Shirone and Adil, who were waiting. The moment she recognized Shirone, Isis Karmis cried out excitedly. She dashed over, pressing her face close to the young man with bright eyes and flushed cheeks. "It really is a boy! A real boy!" For a moment, Amy's image flashed through Shirone's mind. He was flustered, sweat beading on his forehead as he tried to offer a polite greeting. "Hello, I am..." However, his introduction was brutally interrupted. "Forget the greetings," Isis declared firmly, then suddenly grabbed Shirone. In the blink of an eye, Shirone's world turned upside down. He was lifted into the air and hung upside down with a scream of panic. Isis, with unimaginable strength, held him tightly and began running across the spacious hall, shouting as she ran, "Honey, Amy's boyfriend is here!" Before the shock could even subside, Shirone felt himself being abruptly placed on a luxurious sofa. He sat there, clothes disheveled, head spinning, stammering incoherently. What? His blue eyes widened in horror as the meaning of Isis's words finally sunk in.
In the luxurious and splendid room, Chikora Karmis sharply folded the newspaper he was reading. His eyes, as sharp as daggers, pierced through his glasses, looking directly at the blonde teenager sitting opposite him. His voice was deep and full of authority. "Our daughter's boyfriend? Her boyfriend?" Shirone flinched, his face pale and cold sweat breaking out. He hurriedly waved his hand, stammering in denial. No, I'm..." His words were abruptly cut off by his own piercing scream. "Ugh!" As two large figures suddenly appeared from behind the sofa. The eldest brother, dying Karmis, leaned down, his face with a sinister smile and bloodshot eyes full of murderous intent, only inches away from Shirone. He growled, "Or should we see what the face of the bastard who stole our little sister's heart looks like?" Right next to him, the second brother, Alice Karmis, with the thick beard, chimed in with an eager expression. Me too, me too." Surrounded by the three Karmis men, Shirone could only gape in horror. He swallowed hard, cold sweat streaming down his temples. His whole body stiffened, and only one thought remained in his mind. This situation...
In Shirone's mind, a heavy pressure burned like an invisible flame. The shadows of the Karmis family with their piercing, scrutinizing eyes loomed hauntingly. He felt as if his every gesture, every word was being scrutinized, dissected, and etched into their memories forever. Reality was even more tense than his imagination. In the luxurious living room, Shirone stood frozen like a statue. Opposite him, on a crimson brocade sofa, Isis Karmis smiled charmingly, her red hair radiant under the light. "Oh, you're very handsome," Isis complimented, her eyes sweeping over Shirone. Then she continued, "You attend the same academy as Amy, so you must be in your final year, right?" For a moment, Shirone forgot how to breathe. He only managed to stammer in his head, My name is... Before stuttering an answer to her question, "No, I'm in year 5. "What?" A single word escaped Ice's lips, but it was enough to freeze the entire room. The warm atmosphere instantly vanished. Shirone clearly felt the change through her eyes, and those of the two men sitting in the distance, Shakura and Dian. The smiles on their faces disappeared, replaced by cold, scrutinizing, and contemptuous gazes. Their eyes were like daggers piercing Shirone, making him shudder. Cold sweat broke out on Shirone's temples. He swallowed hard, his throat dry, only managing to stammer yes before choking up, completely overwhelmed by the suddenly icy atmosphere.
In the opulent atmosphere of the Karmis mansion, Shirone sat primly on a velvet sofa, facing Amy's family. He calmly announced, "Next semester, I'll be in 4th class." A sudden silence filled the room. Shakura and another man in the family began to tremble uncontrollably, clutching their stomachs, trying to suppress a burst of laughter that threatened to erupt. Immediately after, the space exploded with hearty laughter. Isis gracefully covered her mouth, giggling, while Amy's father and the others broke into uncontrollable guffaws. Shirone was completely stunned, his handsome face changing from surprise to utter bewilderment. He stammered in his thoughts. Huh? What's wrong with 5th class and 4th class? So there are things like this at the Magic Academy too? But wait, when did Amy enter the graduating class? Seeing Shirone's bewildered expression, Shakura said, still laughing, "Who knows? You only came home yesterday." The answer was like a bolt of lightning. Shirone's soul seemed to leave his body, and he froze on the spot with wide, blank eyes. What's going on here? A chaotic stream of thoughts flashed through his mind before the panic reached its peak. "What are you all doing?" Shirone shouted, his usual composure vanishing without a trace. Amidst the emotional storm, Amy, who had been silent from beginning to end, gripped the armrest of the sofa tightly, her knuckles turning white.
"Why are you all teasing my guests?" Amy yelled, her face flushed with anger and embarrassment, her hands gripping the railing tightly. But then a humiliating truth flashed through her mind. Her eyes widened in surprise as she realized, They've just been teasing me this whole time? It turned out the whole family was just playfully mocking Shirone's somewhat rigid demeanor. Later, Shirone had the opportunity to visit Amy's private room. He couldn't help but be surprised when he saw the bookshelves reaching the ceiling, filled with erudite books. "Oh, so this is Amy's room," he thought. Then his eyes stopped on the large bed. In contrast to her strong exterior, the bed was decorated with an extremely adorable collection of stuffed animals. Shirone couldn't help but smile. Cute decorations. With her tough appearance, isn't this difference a bit much? He suddenly imagined Amy's two older brothers saying that no matter what, she would always be their little sister. The scene shifted to an outdoor tea party set amidst a garden vibrant with roses. The table was laden with cakes and delicate teacups. Amy silently sipped her tea, trying to maintain her composure even though she was inwardly flustered. The Karmis family's curiosity quickly focused on Shirone. Diane, the oldest brother, looked at Shirone thoughtfully. "Hey guy, how did you manage to win her heart anyway?" "Impossible. He looks so attentive. Did you use sweet words?" Alice also leaned in, curiously asking, "I guess you conquered her with your masculinity, right?" Isis, Amy's mother, couldn't sit still either. She leaned toward Shirone with eyes sparkling with excitement. "Tell me, don't be shy. Are you two dating, aren't you?" The clinking of the teapot rang out as Amy, unable to withstand her family's interrogation, angrily poured tea. Beneath the hem of her long dress, her hands had clenched tightly, trying to suppress the rage that was about to explode.
The door burst open with a loud bang, shattering the mansion's silence. Amy charged in like a whirlwind, dragging Shirone and another man down with her in a tangled heap onto the luxurious rug. From the top of the stairs, she shouted, "We're dating, okay?" An awkward silence followed. All three lay sprawled on the floor, still dazed from the chaotic landing. From the sofa in the main hall, Shakura slowly raised his head from his newspaper, his expression strangely calm. He took a sip of tea and said with a skeptical tone, "Really?" A feeling of unease washed over Shirone. "Is this okay? We're only pretending to date at school. I didn't think we needed to lie to your family, too." A little later, in the sun-drenched garden, amidst the blooming red roses, Shirone and Amy sat facing each other at an elegant tea table. Amy casually sipped her tea, seemingly unconcerned by the recent chaos. She replied, "It's fine, they wouldn't care anyway. I have to do this or they'll just bother me even more." Shirone felt guilty. He said apologetically, "I feel like I've caused you some trouble. Sorry, I should have given you a heads up." Amy shook her head slightly, placing her teacup down. "It's nothing, you're just visiting a friend's house. But seriously, why did you come all the way here? I don't think you just came for a casual visit." Shirone picked up his teacup, his eyes darting away. He hesitated. "Well, actually," seeing this, Amy took a large gulp of tea, her eyes becoming sharp and intensely focused, impatiently screaming in her head, "That's right, what did he come here for? Honestly, I'm dying of curiosity." In the sun-drenched garden amidst the blooming roses, Shirone and Amy were enjoying a peaceful afternoon tea. Breaking the silence, Shirone hesitantly spoke. "Actually, I have a proposition." Taking a sip of tea, Amy asked curiously, "What kind of proposition?" "Would you like to go out? To Gallian Island, that is." The sudden invitation made Amy pause, the teacup in her hand holding in midair. She asked in surprise, "You and I going to an island?" Shirone quickly explained, "I have a close friend named Rion. He's the one who suggested it, but Rion said he would bring a friend, so I also need a friend to come along." Amy softly said, "Aha."
as if she understood the situation. She calmly asked, her eyes still hidden behind the teacup, "The friend Rion is bringing, is it a girl?" Shirone jumped, unable to hide the surprise on her innocent face. "Huh? How did you know? I didn't say anything." While Shirone was still flustered, a series of thoughts flashed through Amy's mind. That friend of his is quite cunning, she thought to herself. Isn't this clearly a double date? A date? Just thinking about those two words was enough to fluster Amy, and sweat involuntarily broke out on her temples. Her cheeks flushed. Why would he ask me to come along on an occasion like this?
In the sun-drenched garden, amidst the blooming rose bushes, the atmosphere of the tea party was as taut as a drawn bowstring. Amy Karmis angrily drained her teacup, the loud clink of a porcelain almost shattering the silence. Confusion and anger filled her head. He didn't even care when we were pretending to date, so why now? Across from her, Shirone Orion remained seated with a composed expression, his hands clasped together on the table. Surrounding them was a lavish spread of pastries, from strawberry cupcakes to butter cookies, all exquisitely arranged. But neither of them seemed to be in the mood to enjoy it. Trying to regain her composure, Amy put down her teacup and looked directly at Shirone. Her voice was laced with skepticism and a hint of pleading. "Why me? You have friends in the advanced class. You know I'm in the graduating class, right? Everyone else is swamped with the special training. I don't have time to hang out like this. So, why?" Her hand trembled, causing the porcelain cup on the saucer to rattle softly. Shirone's silence only made her more anxious. After a moment, Shirone's gaze became deep and focused. He looked directly at her, his voice low and resolute. "Amy."
In the serene atmosphere of the royal garden, bathed in warm sunlight and surrounded by blossoming roses, Shirone looked directly at Amy with a rare seriousness, his voice deepening as he said, "You're the only one." The sudden confession stunned Amy so much that she spent all the tea she had just drunk. The dark brown liquid splattered all over the table, even hitting Shirone's face and white shirt. Soaked in tea, Shirone didn't seem bothered at all. He just smiled slightly, his eyes sparkling as he watched the droplets of tea on his shirt glisten in the sunlight, casually remarking, "Oh, the refraction of light." Shirone's strange reaction only made Amy more confused and embarrassed. She jumped up from her chair, her face flushed, and stammered loudly, "What are you even saying, you idiot, you blockhead? Wipe it off, it's so dirty, seriously." With that, she grabbed a napkin and threw it straight at his face. With the napkin covering one eye, Shirone remained calm and teased, "But you're the one who sprayed it on me." His words made Amy even more flustered, and she quickly covered her mouth, not knowing what to do. The smile on Shirone's face suddenly disappeared, and his expression became pensive. "To be honest, that's been bothering me ever since. The moment we fell, the bright scene suddenly faded, giving way to a dark memory where the two of them were helplessly falling into an infinite void, Shirone desperately gripping Amy's hand as she panicked."
In Amy Karmis's mind, the image of Shirone's tear-stained face kept replaying, relentlessly nagging at her. Why did he have that expression, she wondered? He came to find me first. Is it because he feels guilty for not being able to keep his promise? Or was it this idiot? The flood of thoughts caused her cheeks to flush. Could it be that he likes me? But since when? Silence blanketed the tranquil space of the garden where crimson roses flaunted their beauty in the morning sunlight. Between the two, on the pure white tea table, the pastries and tea had long gone cold. Amy awkwardly turned her face away, while Shirone sat opposite her, his head buried in his hands, looking distressed. Finally, it was Shirone who broke the stifling silence. "Don't you remember what I said before?" Startled out of her reverie, Amy asked blankly, "Huh?" Shirone continued, his voice still a little tired but now more serious. "About the person named Amira." Amira? Amy frowned, trying to dredge up her memories. "The president of the Supernatural Spirit Association? You said she was stuck in another dimension, right?" "That's right," Shirone confirmed, slowly lowering his hands to reveal a sharp and decisive gaze. He took a small sip of tea and continued. "I have a hypothesis, that the immortality function is related to superluminal speed. That's why I want to know more about her."
Amy froze, her eyes widening and her mouth gaping in astonishment as a harsh truth dawned on her. "Ah, so that's how it is," she uttered, her voice filled with disappointment. Amidst the garden overflowing with vibrant roses, under the warm sunlight, Shirone calmly continued to explain, seemingly oblivious to the change in her demeanor. "The headmaster said he doesn't mind if I investigate the Carrigo ruins. Ryan invited me anyway, so I thought I'd just do it while I'm there." Upon hearing this, Amy simply responded with a dry, "Oh!" The peaceful atmosphere of the afternoon tea was suddenly shattered. Amy abruptly stood up, the white chair scraping loudly as it was pushed back. She let out a long, frustrated scream that echoed through the space. "Ah!" Shirone was completely bewildered, just staring at her in confusion, unsure of what was